Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're looking at Olympic snowboarding. Now, I know we talked about the basics of snowboarding before in another episode, and if you want to hear about that, I'll put a link in the show notes. But today, I'm looking at snowboarding in the Olympics, which is kind of a whole different beast. Now, as always, before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. In the early 1990s, when the International Olympic Committee was first considering adding snowboarding, they were worried about the sport's rebel reputation, and they initially proposed a rule requiring all snowboarders to compete in traditional, tight-fitting alpine ski suits. You know, there's nothing like neon spandex to make you look like a serious athlete. What do you think? Did the IOC actually try to force snowboarders into spandex? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is amplitude. That's AMPLITUDE. In physics, amplitude usually refers to the maximum displacement of a wave, but in the Olympic halfpipe, it has a bit simpler meaning: height. When a rider like Shaun White or Chloe Kim hits the vertical wall of a 22-foot superpipe, they use their momentum to launch themselves into the air. Amplitude is the measurement of how high their board travels above the lip of the pipe. They're looking for massive amplitude because more height means the rider has more airtime to complete complex rotations and grabs. In the Olympics, the difference between a gold and a silver often comes down to who can maintain their amplitude from the first hit all the way to the bottom of the pipe. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about Olympic snowboarding. Number 1, snowboarding's Olympic debut was kind of a disaster. Snowboarding officially joined the games in Nagano in 1998, but it got off to a rocky start. The very first gold medalist, Ross Rebagliati, was actually disqualified and had his medal taken away just days after winning because he failed a drug test. But the decision was overturned on a legal technicality. He got his medal back, but the drama solidified snowboarding's image as the wild child of the Winter Games. At the time, snowboarding was struggling to be taken seriously by the traditional skiing establishment. The disqualification and subsequent legal battle highlighted a massive culture clash. The rebel snowboarders felt like the Olympics were trying to police their lifestyle, while the Olympic Committee was terrified of the sport's counterculture reputation. Ultimately, as the old saying goes, no publicity is bad publicity, the controversy made snowboarding the most talked about event in the 1998 Games, proving that even a so-called disastrous start doesn't mean things will have to stay disastrous. Number 2, the Olympic halfpipe is a feat of laser-guided engineering. The standard neighborhood sledding hill won't cut it for the Olympics. A superpipe is exactly 22 feet high, about the height of a 2-story building. To make the walls perfectly smooth, crews use a specialized machine called a pipe dragon. This massive tractor uses a curved grooming arm and laser sensors to shave the ice to within an inch of perfection. If the walls are even slightly off, the rider's trajectory can be ruined, making high-speed spins extremely dangerous. The shape of the pipe is a perfect parabola designed to maximize the physics of a pendulum. If the transition, the curve between the flat floor and the vertical wall, is too steep, the rider will experience a G out where the force of the turn is so strong it pins them to the board. If it's too mellow of a curve, they won't reach the vertical angle and will fly out of the side of the pipe instead of up into the air. Of course, building that half pipe is one thing, but maintaining it is another. They have to contend with not only forces of nature like the sun trying to melt the snow and ice, but also the impact of all those snowboarders riding it. So venues will often have to mine snow from other parts of the mountain to keep the walls from melting and crumbling. Number 3. Snowboard Cross is essentially a demolition derby on ice. While most snowboarding events are judged on style, Snowboard Cross, or Border Cross, is a pure race. 4 to 6 riders drop into the course at the exact same time, flying over jumps and around banked turns called berms. Because everyone is fighting for the same line, collisions are incredibly common. It's the only snowboard event where you have to worry about the physics of aerodynamics and the physics of someone's elbow at the same time. Beyond the crashes, Border Cross relies heavily on a racing tactic called drafting. Just like in NASCAR or professional cycling, a rider will tuck close behind the leader to enter their slipstream. This pocket of low-pressure air reduces the wind resistance for the second rider, allowing them to gain speed without using any extra energy. In the final stretch of the race, the trailing rider will slingshot out from behind the leader, using that stored energy to snatch the gold at the very last second. Number 4. When big air riders land, they experience the same force as a car crash. In the big air event, riders launch themselves off a massive ramp to perform a single breathtaking trick. When they land, they're falling from a height of about 40 feet while traveling 50 miles an hour. This leads to an enormous impact force. To survive the landing without breaking their legs, riders have to land on a steep downward slope. This allows them to convert their downward energy into forward energy. If they were to flat bottom or land on flat ground, the sudden stop would result in forces equivalent to a medium-speed car accident. To handle this impact, snowboard technology has actually evolved to include damping systems. Modern Olympic boards aren't just planks of wood. They're layered with carbon fiber, honeycombed aluminum, and rubber inserts designed to act like a car's suspension. When a rider stomps a 40-foot landing, the board flexes to absorb the vibration, preventing the shock wave from traveling up into the rider's knees and spine. Without this specialized equipment, the human body just couldn't withstand the repeated landings required for a 3-run Olympic final. And our 5th and final fun fact for today. As of the time of this recording at least, the Quad Cork seems to be the current limit of human physics. For years, the triple cork, 3 off-axis flips, was the gold standard, but in recent Olympics, riders have pushed into the quad cork territory, 4 full flips while spinning horizontally. To pull this off, a rider needs to reach a rotation speed so fast they experience significant g-forces that can actually blur their vision mid-air. Scientists believe we're reaching the physical limit of how many rotations a human can fit into a standard 40-foot jump before gravity simply runs out of time. The biggest challenge of the quad cork isn't just the spinning, it's the blind landing. When you're flipping and spinning at that speed, the ground and sky become a blur of white and blue. Riders have to develop a strong sense of proprioception, which is the body's internal GPS. They have to feel where they are in the air and time their untuck perfectly. If they open their body a millisecond too late, they'll over-rotate and crash. A millisecond too early, and they'll underflip, which is one of the most dangerous mistakes a rider can make at 50 miles an hour. Now for some news you can use. If you want to understand how Olympic riders stay so stable during a 1,440 degree spin, Before a rider even leaves the jump, they start their rotation. This is called winding up. By twisting their shoulders in the opposite direction of the spin just before takeoff, they create elastic potential energy in their core. This is the kind of thing you can actually carefully try and experience at home. First, stand up on a rug and just try to jump and turn. Next, try it with a little bit of a wind up. Stand on that rug, twist your upper body all the way to the left, and then jump and snap your body to the right. You'll probably find that you spin much faster and more easily than you did the first time when you just tried to jump and turn. In the Olympics, that snap has to be timed just right. Too early and you lose your edge, and too late and you won't get enough spin rate to finish the trick. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, did the Olympic Committee actually try to force snowboarders into spandex suits in the 90s? Well, that's a fact. When snowboarding was first integrated under the International Ski Federation, there was a massive push to make it look more like traditional skiing. Many officials really wanted snowboarders to wear the aerodynamic speed suits used in alpine skiing. The snowboarders flat out refused, arguing that baggy clothing wasn't just a fashion statement, it allowed for the wide range of motion needed for grabs and tweaks. The riders won the argument, and that's why today, Olympic snowboarders are the only athletes you'll see winning gold medals in gear that looks like high-end streetwear. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about Olympic snowboarding with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.